Sounds of a Revolution. Questions and answers. What does a revolution sound like? A revolution sounds like it is very core. It could be noisy. It could be quiet. It could be violent. It could be nonviolent. It just depends on the situation. But the whole purpose of a revolution is to facilitate some type of change against an injustice or a situation that needs to be resolved. How long you been writing? 44 years. What were and still are some of your influences in literature? Hmm, That is a long list. Just off the top of my head, Maya Angelou, Gwendolyn Brooks, Nikki Giovanni, uh, County Cullen, Walt Whitman, William Shakespeare, Langston Hughes, James Weldon Johnston, Paul Laurence Dunbar, Edgar Allan Poe, and the list goes on, and Dr. Seuss. Do you have any musical influences? I do. I'm partial to hip hop, talking the period from 1985 to 2000. Groups like Public Enemy and Chuck D, KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions, Nas, Poor Righteous Teachers, uh, Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J, Eric B. and Rakim, and the list goes on and on. And the old Jay Z. Has religion played a pivotal role in your writing? It has. My mother was a minister before her passing, well over 30 years, and so is a mainstay in our household. Also, um, religion and Negro hymns and spirituals were also influential in the civil rights movement. Since you were born in the late 60s, how was growing up then compared to what you're seeing currently? I thought, as, I thought as a child that I thought that racism couldn't get any worse than what it is now. But then now, with the advent of technology and everything, and all of the video cameras that are everywhere, whether on phones or on police officers, um, I think the situation has gotten worse. And you would think it wouldn't. You would think it would have gotten better with the advent of technology. But it just seems that they really absolutely do not care that they're on video, that they're being seen, and in a court of public opinion, they are they don't care. And it doesn't help that we can't get any justice on the state level and very little justice on the federal level. Said in this your latest book, what is your favorite poem that you like and that stands out for you and why? That will probably I'm a stickler on three laws. And the reason for that, it was the complexity in writing. It was trying to keep the message simple but effective. And um, just had to use some really unique rhyme schemes and patterns to make it fit and flow. What genre do you write and why? I usually write in free verse. Can you write in any other genres? Yes, I can. Haiku, sonnets, limericks, etc. I can write in any of those. Explain the journey in your early years when free verse was not regarded as an acceptable form of poetry. But when I was coming through, I was ostracized for the way that I was writing. Um, and teachers made it very difficult for me because I didn't fit in the box. I was writing outside the box. And so um, I didn't get the grades that I should have because I was writing something that was totally different, something that wasn't recognized at that particular time. What is the state of poetry today? I think poetry is on crutches. Um, I would think that there will be a renaissance of sorts, of all type of poetry and artists and stuff writing about these things that we see. But it seems definitely poetry is on crutches and needs resurrection. The last book that you put out was in 2015 was Walls of My Soul. So there's a 5 year hiatus from that book to Soul. What happened? Did you have writer's block or nothing to say? I think at the time I stopped writing when I think 2015, yeah, when Trayvon Martin was killed by Zimmerman, and I just became numb. I became comfortably numb in the state that I was in. I felt that because I had achieved the American dream, which means I went to college, served in the military, I worked for the government, upper middle class style lifestyle, that I was absolved from racism. And although I had my brushes with the law, I just considered it a part of the territory. But it's when I saw what had happened to George Floyd, when I had heard what happened to Breonna Taylor, my activism got reactivated. And I felt I needed to get back up on the front lines with my pen and my voice and let the world know what was happening and that I had to right this wrong, no matter how I had to do it. See, when you're doing your rhyme schemes, what do you specialize in? And other examples in the book. So when I'm doing my rhyme schemes, I like to rhyme complex words. I like to write poetry on complex subjects and then transform them, like using mathematics and science to explain the social ills and even to explain how someone is lynched mathematically and scientifically. Seen on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube that you do spoken word. How is it different from writing your poetry? For me, it's no different. Other people say it's something different. I've always wrote with my ears and not my eyes, and so spoken word poetry, I would say, is not a natural progression, but it is something that I was doing anyway before spoken word became popular. What are the goals you want to achieve with this book? I want this book to irritate, agitate, and facilitate a discussion about the social ills that are happening in this country, the social ills that I've experienced in this country. Have some dialogue and make some changes. It says, do you have a mantra associated with this book? Yes. Um, when I fly, I soar. When I'm grounded, I roar. I am not a poet that you want. However, I am the poet that you need. What else we got here? The illustration for this book is amazing. What does it mean? So, of course, you know that's the fist pump, okay? The shackles and the chains and the handcuffs that need to be broken. Um, your book, as well as yourself, keeps talking about a revolution. What kind of revolution are you talking about? That's a trap question. So I'm gonna answer it like this. I believe in nonviolence up to a point, and then after that point, I believe violence is necessary. I already answered that one. When did you start writing? I answered that. I became a professional writer in 1989. What was the title of my first book? One copywriting book. That would be Violated and Unappreciated. Closing, is there anything that you want to? My latest work, Soar, Sounds of a Revolution, will be released in September. Pre-sales have begun. You can order your copy today at Nefarious J. Dorsey through Facebook, Messenger, Cash App, hashtag or dollar sign, SOAR1NF JD1. My website, NefariousJDorsey.com. Paperback is $13.99. Ebook is $7.99. I will say this in closing. This is the most socially conscious work I have done to date, as we are in perilous times. This time the revolution is being televised, videotaped, and written, never to be ignored again.